everybody, it's Tracy. I have a little project that I'm going to do today. I've got Colton here with me. We're going to video doing a tablescape out of some stuff I've got, some thrifted things, some clearance item things, and some things that I just had on hand. So I want to do a tablescape for this table. I did something similar to this for Thanksgiving, and I'm just reimagining it now for Christmas. So I've got the leaf in the table, which makes it a little bit longer, and so it's harder to find the linens. Most of my linens work better for the table without the leaf. So I'm going to just use a runner today, and then I've got this long tray. I've got tons of trays. I love to buy these, and I buy them a lot of times at thrift stores and different places in different sizes and in different dimensions. Well, size and dimensions, same thing, but in different orientations. So this is a really long skinny one. I don't worry so much about mixing metals. I may use brass on this one, which is sort of a chrome look or a brushed nickel look, but I don't worry as much as I used to about mixing metals, because I think it's okay as long as the size and the scale work. You can use brass or you can use silver plate or whatever on these, and it doesn't matter. So the first thing, we're gonna get started. The first thing I'm gonna do, I've got a rather wide runner here, and I think this came from Hobby Lobby a while back, but I think one of the best things you can do is just have different runners in different sizes. I do have a Christmas runner that I could put on here, but I'm gonna end up changing this out. This is just for us. Actually, this says Hearth and Hand. Is that what it says? Yeah, so this is that Magnolia collection, so it came from Target. But it's really wide, which is a little bit unusual and why I like it so much. So I'm gonna take this and stick here in the middle. And then I want to have some candles here. And I really like the white basic, I think they're dripless candles from Trader Joe's. I'm a big Trader Joe's fan, and I use those a lot if I can get by with just a basic white candle. Now I like to buy the different colors and use those too, so we may mix it up a little bit and try both. But I think what I'm going to do is the white Trader Joe's, because I have two round ones. Let me show you what I've got. Let me get over here, and this is sort of a mess where I'm working here, but I've got these. This one is an odd man out. I don't have a matching one for him. And then I have these little shorter ones, and they don't have the insert in them. I could use one of the, I call them a tulip, I don't know what they're called, that sit down in it. Let me show you what that looks like. So I have these that sit down in a regular, and you can use a tea light. You can put them down in a regular candlestick. So I probably could do that in there, but excuse me, these, you can usually get those at a thrift store. I've gotten them in the past for about $1. I don't know what the market value is on those, but I think you probably could still get them, excuse me, at the thrift store. So those are good. And then I have these more substantial, and they're not in perfect condition. These came secondhand, but they give you a varied height, which is what I'm looking for. So the next thing I'm going to do is I've got this fake greenery, and I could cut these and make them, excuse me, I could cut these and take them apart, but I really think I can keep them rather intact and just pull apart and adjust. And I've got some other, there's a little piece off that one, which I can come back. I want it to come across the edge of the tray just a little bit, excuse me, and give us a little bit of movement across so that it's not so strict. Let's see, here's the rest of these. And we may not need all of these, excuse me, or we may need more. Let's see what what this looks like doing it this way. And I'm gonna put this in here. So I will buy these picks and use those. And I could go out into the yard and cut some greenery, and I do have some greenery that I could cut, but I don't want the mess, and I want this to last. We're getting close. We're probably a week or so away from Christmas, but I don't want the mess of the live greenery. It's so much prettier than the fake. But you can buy, I mean, it's amazing. Even the dollar store has some pretty amazing looking greenery that looks fairly realistic. So we'll pull that up that way. And we've got, I think that's pretty good. Let's try to place our candles and see what we've got. I've got 2 round candles here that are, this is why I think I'm gonna use those Trader Joe's candles, because they'll match these. That's not what these are, but they will match the color of that much better. I don't want to burn the house down with that, so hold on, let me see. I keep my candles over here. Oh, here's 2. So if I do 2 of these in, let's see if that will hold. That looks like it's broken. It is. Find another one. I think I've got more over here, so let me look and see. I normally keep these tucked away right there. Excuse me. But we can put these in the taller ones. I'm gonna try, I've got some smaller, there we go. I've got some smaller ones, but here's, I'm gonna try using these. I received these as a gift. And if you know somebody that loves to decorate for Christmas, I can't think of a better gift than you could give them than a large ornament like that. And I've got these little strings, which I'll come back through and cut those. But that gives us, let's light the candles. And I think this gives me enough height. You want your, when someone's seated, you want them to still be able to have a conversation. So, and this can easily, because it's on a tray, be moved away if we were to decide to move it during Christmas when we're eating. But let's light these and see if we like how it looks. I think I'm gonna like it. There we go. I think that does exactly what we were looking for. It gives us something that we can leave on the table until we eat. We can move it off, but it still allows you to look through to the tree, and it gives you a pretty nice centerpiece. So let me know what you think. Make a comment, let me know what you think. Or if you think it would look better with some red berries, because I haven't introduced any red. Pretty monochromatic with the tree, but let me know what you think. Welcome back. We're talking about the Christmas tree, and I did not get a video of me decorating it, but I thought I could take you through a little bit of how we've constructed it. So at the top, and I'm a big person, I'm a big fan of using picks, and I will pick these up after Christmas. I always buy some, but I've got such a war chest of picks and all different kinds. But most of what I do on here are just round ornaments and picks, and even some things that look like ornaments are picks, and then they're just tucked in there. But one thing, and Colton, you come a little bit closer, that I have found that works really well on a tree, and if you'll look deeply in here, this is plastic. This is just Dollar Tree plastic greenery picks, or not greenery, they're shimmery champagne color. And I just tuck those in to the tree to take your eye in and give you some depth. The other thing is putting these disco ball like ornaments in deep. It gives you a shimmer in the tree, and you really can't tell what it is other than it's just bringing you beyond the front. Instead of putting everything out on the front, putting ornaments in, putting lights in into the center just makes a huge difference. So all of this up on the top are picks except that little star, and then these are picks, and I've used them just throughout the tree. Here's another one, here's a little pick. I've used these throughout the tree, and even these are just Hobby Lobby. I think these did come from Hobby Lobby, but they're just ornaments that are picks that come from different places. And it's all in one color theme. And up until recently, I didn't even use a lot of red on this side of the house, but I've started bringing some more red in and even some pink in the poinsettia. But adding this, the tree is not real, of course, and some of this greenery here is not, but then this is a little live tree. I got this at a grocery store, and it's literally a live little conifer of some sort, and I think it's a juniper maybe, and it adds just a little bit more, another level having that back here. That could be faux and it would still be fine, but the tree, having the different layers and going inside the tree is a key to actually having it look a little bit more professional, like it's professionally done. We're back over to the mantle talking about decorations for Christmas here in my living room. And again, next year maybe I will film when I'm actually putting it on. I didn't think about doing that before. But this garland is actually not a garland. It's just picks. It's just different types of picks, and I'll get Colton to take some pictures of it. But we have some cedar. I think that's fir. We have different kinds. This is something that I got at Joann's Fabrics years ago. It was a garland, and it's just as plastic can be. But I've cut it into pieces and just tucked it in. And by doing that, you can repeat this. You're not fighting with a big garland. Excuse me. And sometimes in the past, I've done a garland, and then I've put the pieces of greenery into the garland to give it, I like to use at least 3 different types of needles. So like cedar and fir and whatever that's supposed to be, I don't know. But I can repeat it up there with some similar picks. Like I've got in that chinoiserie base there, I've got that, and then I've got the little gold berries. And you can just layer it on, and sometimes I layer on too heavy and I have to pull back out. So I did layer on a little bit too heavy and pull it back out. But again, I have all of my thrifted brass candlesticks that we used on the table. I've used those again here, just giving various heights. And sometimes I will put them on a book, or I've got a little base on this one, but you can see here I've tucked a book. One of the things you can do is turn the book with the spine back, so you get more of a neutral front here instead of actually seeing that. And it's red. I thought I would put red here, but I didn't. And then here again, I've got some books under there and a big book there. But I have the spines turned to the back, so that beige just kind of goes away. I have this elevated on a riser. If you're a thrifter, anytime you're thrifting and you can buy something that's on feet that can raise your level, or your books. All these books came from thrift stores. Excuse me, I take the jackets off, or these were older, they didn't have a jacket. But I always like to buy an older book or a book that's neutral in color and use that to elevate things, especially on the mantle, or when I've got a little vignette or a space of decor. I always want to use that. Now, again, I have these, what I call tulips, and they're all different sizes that go into these and allow me to use a tea light. And these tea lights are, let me show you how this works. Do they all come on? Sometimes they don't all come on. But those are rechargeable. They were given to me as a gift. Cameron gave them to me as a gift. and you can turn them on or off, and you can also turn them on with a remote. They're from Amazon, and they're pretty easy to find. They're rechargeable tea lights. And then there's a base, and it looks, if you're old enough to remember an ice tray that you would put in the freezer to make your ice, it looks like an ice tray, and you just pop each one of these in, plug it in, they recharge, and they'll last a couple of weeks, using them almost every night, because that's what I've done. And then you just take them off. I've only had to recharge them once since I got them, and I've had them probably over a month. So they've done real well, and then we're probably about to need to recharge them again. But these tulips, you can see they're all different kinds. I have some sets that match, and then I have some, I think this is an odd guy out that doesn't match. He's a little bit bigger. And then this one is, I think I've got 2 of these. But they're just a really neat way to elevate a candlestick and allow you to have some flexibility on what type of candle that you're using on a traditional tapered candlestick. So we're still continuing with the decorating, and again, I didn't think to video when we started, but here we are. So on this cabinet that I have under the television, I wanted to pull some of the same elements from the dining room. And here we're in just one big room here because we've got this total open concept, and I like to pretend that I have a living room and a dining room and a kitchen, but it's all just one big room. But trying to pull the same elements from the mantle and from the Christmas tree and the tablescape we just did, I have, again, used picks. These are just picks that and I'm going to knock this over, but these are just picks that we have used over the years, and you can use them over and over again. And I have some little twinkle lights in here, and I don't know if you can tell, but I don't like for them to really twinkle. I like for them to be steady, but those just turn on there. I have one to turn on here and one to turn on over there. And we can pull these same berries and put these in these ginger pots that we've got here. And again, a book to elevate. I have these hurricanes that came from a thrift store. So we have a lot of elements, and this was in an online estate sale piece. I think I paid $4 for that. I had to drive to Lenore City, which is about an hour away, to get it. I didn't look to see where it was, and I got that for $4, and probably, I don't know how much gas it took to get down there, but I'm glad I got it, and I do like it. So again, on books, elevated with the spine to the back to give you this more neutral look instead of the color, and you don't have the distraction of the words on the books to show, to take your eye away. But again, we've got this. I don't know if I've got and I don't. Let me turn these on. Okay. So we've got, I've got the picks over here again, and I'm going to turn this light on if I can find there it is. So we have just a little bit of light. It's not super harsh. I don't like a bright LED light, so it's got just a nod to having some light. This candle and this candle here, they're battery operated, and my sister Beth has taught me you need a C battery that will go on a timer. So these will come on at a certain time of day and go off. And if you get the ones that have that take a C battery, they'll last a whole lot longer, and you won't have to always be changing them out. I have some other ones that do the AA or the AAA, and they do not last nearly as long. So if you're shopping, and a lot of your stores will have these, especially in January, and if you're shopping and you can find one that takes a C battery, that's the one you actually want. That's my favorite ones. But we have this here, and then we come into more of the traditional tree. So this is the tree that has a lot of our ornaments that Olivia's made over the years, ones that we've collected different places. This is a little knee hugger elf that my mom and dad had years ago that I love. And we've just got some different collected ornaments over time, and I put some berries. This is a tree that I got at Lowe's a few years ago, and I just popped it down into this chinoiserie pot. and it kind of elevates it. Putting it up on a table made it more of a tabletop tree, which gives it something in your line of sight here. But I also have another one that's on the ground, we'll get a picture of it, that doesn't have any decor, and it's just got the lights. But again, it gives you a totally different look. But a tabletop tree, put something in your line of sight, and it's just a whole lot easier to decorate and a lot easier to move around.